Hello again, everybody. This is Steve coming to you with the third installment of the Land of the Lions video series. Today, just as I promised in the last video, we're going to cover the world of Land of the Lions. You know, like I said in the previous video, it's not as deep and wide as the Earthfleet saga, but it's got its own characters and its own elements and things that you guys will really like, and I will cover kind of, the world elements and some of the various things. Some of these I've already talked about, so I'm not going to cover those again, but other things I will. And we'll, this will probably be a short video, but yeah, famous last words, right? But we'll go ahead and cover this and some of the different places that are in the book series that I recorded here that were actually relevant. Can't think of I want to check something. There he is. I forgot to add him. Okay, anyways. Oh, no wonder I have him in the wrong spot. Okay. I'll start with this one, just since I'm already over here. I've got to change thing. Put him in the wrong spot. That's why he wasn't on the other page, because I was like, I know he belongs there. Anyways, like I say, you find, when you start demonstrating your wiki to people, you will find things that you missed. Trust me. Anyways, Bergon Cybernetics is essentially, it's a company that replaces Farrell Black's company, Cybergenics. Yeah, Cybergenics Incorporated. That's who it was. Yeah, Bergon Cybernetics replaces the Cybergenics Incorporated that Farrell Black created. Because when he is defeated in Book 1, and once you start reading Book 2, you understand why he doesn't carry on as a villain. Because really, there's no need to. Because Book 2 has its own good. Books 2, 3, and 4 have their own villains. So there's no need for him to be around. So he's defeated, end of his story, move on to the next thing. Anyways, his company shut down, and Brakeman, using his dad's, and dad being Bergon, or Edius Bergon, he takes his dad's information and the technology that he left behind, because this man was an absolute genius, and he slowly unwinds it, unpacks it, and learns it, and it takes him, and you're talking about an android, and it took Brakeman almost 20 years with the help of other scientists to completely unravel all of this unbelievably advanced technology that Bergon had pioneered and left behind when he died. Which from that technology, they were, Brakeman's able to establish Bergon Cybernetics, which he eventually uses to earn a living for his family. He, basically, since there's androids and they need regular maintenance, he uses this company to help the Ixan people and the Gorg and the Sadison, who all become friends eventually. And he uses them to help society, or he uses this company to help society. So he does a lot of good with it. He also takes the technology from Dr. Slough, reverse engineers it, and uses it for a lot of things like artificial limbs. Like, let's say you're somebody that lost your arm from the elbow down. Well, he'll just go and create you a prosthetic that hooks into your existing limb, and it is so natural in how it blends in that somebody would walk up there and not even know that that was an artificial limb unless they actually saw it without the skin on. It's that natural, and that's the technology that Dr. Slough had created, which, like I say, Brakeman reverse engineered. What was the it's also the same technology he used to make his new body. So let's see. We've touched Bersail. Abel North, kind of a small entry on this. This is if you read the second book, you will learn about this small town, but it's important as far as the story goes. So it's got its own little entry, even though it's a short one. Going back to the Burgon Cybernetics. I lost my train of thought. Give me a second. Anyways, he uses that as a funding source for taking care of his family, and eventually he gets so rich he starts, kind of spreading the wealth and helping the Ixan people. He builds other businesses. He takes it beyond just, hey, let's take care of my family, to, hey, let's help take care of our people and make sure they're in good shape and everything like that. Central City is the capital of the Ixan nation. This is like the ultimate city. I mean, most of the cities are, how do I say this? They're smaller cities. They're not big cities. They're, because gotta remember, these people live in a gigantic prairie. So a lot of them are going to be small towns, a few hundred people. Bigger towns, a few thousand, 10,000 people. This one is like, trying to think of a good city. I was to say Los Angeles, but that's too big. But it's big like that, kind of like, it'd be like Chicago or something. It's a big sprawling metropolitan city filled with a lot of science and technology and really smart people. And it's the capital of the entire country. And let me see here. Let's go back over here again. Central City is going to be, roughly in here. It's called Central City. You'd figure it'd be like right down here, but it's actually like up here. So, a little bit of a misnomer on the name, but that's their capital city, and like I say, big city. Central Ridgeline, that was that ridgeline of raised hills and foothills and stuff like that went through the middle of the country. We already talked about the Commonwealth. Cybergenics, which was the company of Farrell Black. Echo Military Labs. This is kind of the military's answer or equivalent of what Farrell Black had, in the fact that these guys do science for the military. They're the ones developing weapon systems, personal protective gear, anything to help the military. So that's their primary job, is they just do all of the military tech. And it could be the combat tech, defensive tech, radar tech, whatever they happen to need. It's one of their laboratories for that purpose. Now GoBat's an interesting item. It's a game that is played in the Ixan nation initially, although the Sadisons and the Gorg eventually pick up on the game after the Gorg War. Once they join together in peace, this game spreads out to the other two nations. The Midison never take this up, which is kind of good because they're a bunch of sleazy rat fiends. But you have the Ixan primarily. Then you have the Gorg, who have their own teams, and the Sadison, who have their own teams. And you can imagine how tough the Gorg and the Sadisons are. You can imagine them having to play against the Ixan. I'd be like, well, that's going to be a one-sided fight. But basically what it is it's like blending rugby and American football together and playing it on an obstacle course. I kid you not. That is how the game works. And just like this picture shows, you're literally playing, a blend of rugby and American football on an obstacle course, and it's got the neatest scoring system. They do scoring based on rinks, which are like these little copper rings, and you can let's see. Oh, I do have a link over to that. It doesn't show them. Okay. But anyways, the way the scoring works is depending on how you take the ball back and forth across the field, is how you get your score. And first, I don't have it in here, but it's I'd have to go look it up. I've got it somewhere off of here in my notes. But basically, the game is timed, but you can also win the game if you get a certain number of ranks, or the game reaches a point where there's no chance at all for the other team to catch up to you. So it's got some, it's got some flexibility in there, but you don't necessarily earn points or ranks, if you will, by getting the ball across to the other side of the field and into the other person's goal. You get points for doing that, but you also get points for the quality of your plays. If you only get halfway down the field and say getting it into the goal is 3 ranks, but you made this amazing dash and got halfway down the field but got stopped, you might earn a rank or 2. And then you go and you get a penalty, you might lose a rank or 2, because you can actually lose points by getting penalties. Or you made a play, but it was just this absolutely horrible excuse for a play. You just lost a rank or 2 or 3. So your score is going up and down all the way through the game, and you either run out of time, you get a certain number of ranks, or it gets to the point where you're so far ahead of the other team that there's no way they can catch up to you. So you can, there's 3 different ways to end the game. And the funny thing is, this is a game that Tagani just absolutely loves. I mean, he absolutely loves this game. He is like this huge super fan, which is hilarious, because like I say, he is a huge super fan of this game. You see him at every single Go Back game. Either he'll either watch it on TV, or he will actually attend. Thanks to Brakeman, they can actually have their own box seats. So, but yeah, he does not miss a game if he can at all help it. And Brakeman likes the game too, but like I say, Tagani is the ultimate super fan of this game, and it's hilarious watching him because he just really gets into the game. I do have information on the Gorg War. Not a lot, because I didn't need a lot, but if you want learn more about it, read the book. There's details in there that I didn't include in here, because I didn't include them because I didn't felt I needed them. Didn't need to have them here, but they are in the book if you want to read about them. The Gorg War, drives a lot of things in the series and sets up a lot of things that play into later books in the series. Okay, this is one of the pirate hunters I was telling you about. A pirate hunter ship run by Jasal, who is he's an old citizen, but they're one of the ones that go out and hunt the pirates. A majority of the pirates are Minisan, although there are pirates of other races, but they're primarily they're the majority pirates. And these guys go out and hunt them for sport, just to help keep the sea trade going. Qatar. Now this is cool. Qatar is the Yigzan, although the other 2 drink it too. But it's primarily for the Yigzan. It's their version of coffee, and this stuff will, just to say it this way, this stuff will clean your pipes. But these guys love it. It's just it's like cappuccino, but with a more kind of a more earthy flavor. It's a unique flavor. It's really strong like cappuccino, but it's got its own flavor to it. It's really neat. I mean, I'm not a coffee drinker, so I had a little fun trying to describe this, but like I say, the closest I can come to is like this really flavorful, earthy, intoxicating coffee drink that is just amazing. And again, I'm not a coffee drinker, so I can't actually say that I'm accurate on how that should be described, but that's how I describe it. Okay, that's one of the ships that takes the guys across. I mentioned the Northern Mountains. Parla Burdel. Okay, here is the capital of the Ixan nation back 1,200 years prior to the events of Book 1. It is... How do I put this? It is... it's a walled castle city. And it's the capital where the king... I'm trying to remember what his name was. Braddock, whatever it was, but that's where he sits at. And this is the capital of the nation during that time. The capital is eventually, abandoned as the Yixan pick up more technology and grow and expand. Especially since the medicine are no longer a problem. The lands are less wild. The Gorg are their friend and a trading partner during this time. They don't turn away from the Yixan until the medicines kind of, I shouldn't say spoil them, but corrupt them. That'd be the word. When the medicine corrupt them, then they turn away from the Yixan for a while, and then eventually they come back and become friends again. But that's the capital city of the old Yixan kingdom. Rinks. Yeah, I covered that. Royal Year. This is an interesting one. The Royal Year came about roughly 30 to 40 years after the arrival of the first colonists, because by that point in time they had, I can't say devolved, but transformed into kind of a monarchy, although their government was a monarchy. And they decided that when the monarchy was established, they were going to start calling them royal years instead of what they had been called before, because they were still trying to distance themselves from their Abernai brethren. So they called them royal years. And then they used that up until the Great Awakening. And then it was the years restarted at that point in time. And then it was basically after Great Awakening. So they stopped being royal years and became AGA, I think it was, for their time thing. And then 1,200 years later, you have Book 1. So let's see. We had Scout Spider, Tersar. I think that's, yeah, that was, okay, we already covered that one. Great Awakening and Varrock. So yeah, that's all the major elements of that world. Trying to think. No, we just got the 4 books in here. So yeah, it's, the world is not as deep and the character count is not as high as Earthfleet, because like you look at the characters for Earthfleet, there's 111 of them just for the 7 books of Earthfleet. This one has 58. The world 118. This one 21. So Land of the Lions is not as deep and wide as Earthfleet, but it's its own world, and it's really neat. And the characters themselves make up for the lack of depth in the world in this particular writing world. And it's a lot of fun. I enjoyed writing it. I don't have plans for any follow-up books. I thought about them. I plotted and planned one of them, but then eventually just abandoned the idea because once you get past book 4, what is there left to tell? I mean, you could probably tell more things, but I couldn't find enough to write about to create anything more. It was kind of like, okay, everything that could be told has been told. What little is left really isn't worth telling. You could probably tell it in a 15,000 word mini novel just to kind of cover what had happened. Kind of post Versailles. And that's about it. You could go into like little sub stories in that world, but the sub stories I was looking at really didn't feel like they needed to be told. So I just eventually abandoned any future spin-offs of this. So basically all you're getting is those 4 books. Now if you guys could think of maybe something by reading these books that might be worth exploring, I'm willing to do some spin-offs of this world, but if not, then it's just going to be these 4 books, because I think these 4 books pretty much told everything that needed to be told for this world and this series. So, and we're done at 20 minutes. Wow. I didn't sit here for 45 minutes again and talk like super long. So anyways, that's the world of Land of the Lions. If you guys have any thoughts or questions or comments or anything like that, please let me know. I'm going to continue working through, I've got a bunch of other videos already queued up for Earthfleet. I'm going to be starting into Off-World Chronicles as well, and doing those. This world's a lot richer. See, 117. This is more like and 104. So yeah, this one's kind of like Earthfleet in the fact that it's a very deep, very rich, very wide. So there's going to be a lot to talk about here. I'm also going to go in and cover some of these other smaller books. They'll each get probably 1 video. Well, the ones that are done, because like Battling Mice at Mouseville is not done. Man Who Reached for God is not done. So as these are finished, I should say, like Dreamland Articles, that one I gave up on, so I'm not going to cover that. Storyline Chronicles, I probably will give a quick video for that one. Give a quick video for some of these other ones. Eventually, I'm just going to run out of content, but I will cover as much as I can. And if you got, like I say, if you guys have any questions, thoughts, comments, etc., just let me know. And I'll be happy to answer them. Thanks.